Obama's war on the suburbs. That's what we'll talk about today. It's the least publicized aspect of his program, but one of the most important. Barack Obama opposes suburbs. He wants to force everyone into the cities from whence our ancestors fled. Because one reason is, of course, that he wants the suburban revenues to subsidize the inner city. He wants to make sure that the money from people that live outside the city flows into the city and is not spent in their own communities. And he's linked up with the global environmentalists who push the concept called Agenda 21 that was invented at the UN Rio conference in 1992 that says because of carbon emissions and global warming, we have to reduce the dependence on the automobile, increase people walking and biking, and we have to reshape the way we live with that in mind. So the economic concern about funneling resources to the inner cities and the environmental concern about carbon emissions combine into Obama's program of regionalism. Regional planning grants, which he's given out already in Ohio, Virginia, and Florida. The concept of regional planning under Obama is you get rid of cities, you get rid of counties, you get rid of suburban first selectmen and county executives and all that, and you put everything under a regional authority. That's the whole metropolitan area of Cleveland, or of Washington, or of New York, or of Orlando, Miami. And the regional entity governs everything. It decides on transportation, funding allocations for education, zoning, land use, open space regulations, wetlands and environmental regulations, all designed to force people into the cities from the suburbs. So traffic jams become an instrument of policy. The idea is to make you sit in traffic so long that you give up and you move back to the cities. The idea is to make it so hard to drive in the cities with fines and cameras and everything that you give up and you walk or you take the bike. The idea is to make it so hard to open a business in the suburbs that everybody moves back into the cities. The Obama's plan is basically to reshape the way we live so we live in dense inner city communities. Now, global warming is not a reason to do this. Even if we concede it's happening and that it's man-made, which is a big concession, the United States has reduced its carbon emissions dramatically as a result of the high price of gas, the high price of oil, and public education. We've reduced our emissions 10% below the 2006 levels, well within the Kyoto targets, and it'll be another 20% by 2020, not by any of these restrictions, but by higher efficiency standards, less driving, and all kinds of lifestyle decisions people are making. But what Obama wants to do in the name of environmentalism and in the name of increasing funding at the inner city is literally change the way we live. Your parents who left the suburbs, grandparents, left the city, moved to the suburbs because they wanted a lawn and a garden and some open space and some place where the kids could play and go to school and be safe and not worried about crime, those will all be reversed. And every kind of disincentive will come up to live there, and every kind of incentive to move into the cities. Change the way we live. So that fundamentally the problem of an inner city that's not well funded and suburbs that are relatively low tax entities will end. And the suburbs will be taxed horribly to fund the projects in the inner cities. This is Obama's vision. My wife and I outline this in our book, Screwed. We talk about the Agenda 21, which is the overview of what the United Nations plans to do. Please read it, pay attention to the chapter on Agenda 21, and then fight it as Obama is doing it. Thank you.